Hello and welcome to this installment of AA Computers and Technology, where I'm going to try to get Android up and running on this IBM eServer X Series Model 220. As you can see, I don't have anything set up yet, so I'm not even sure if this is going to be a video. 1.6 should work because it worked with the Intel Celeron Coppermine processor running at 900 megahertz. If you want to check out that video, link is in the description. So right now I'm going to take you around this computer, walk you around the hardware. If you want an in-depth overview, that's also going to be in the description because I have already made one, so check that out as well if you want a little bit more detail on system specifications with this machine. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm gonna pull this out. I also have to pull out my eMachine T1090 because it has the USB 2.0 card in it, and throw the USB 2.0 card in this machine because running Android off USB 1.0 is just really painful. Trust me, I've done it before. It's not a pleasant experience, so we're going to want to get that USB 2.0 card in this PC. And here is the IBM eServer with the side panel off. Let's go ahead and check out some of the system components inside so we know what the heck we will be working with during this video. At the top you can see two Pentium 3 processors. Each of these is running at 1.1 gigahertz. I can't remember how much cache is on each one. We'll take a look at that when I boot the system up and go into the BIOS. When I go into the BIOS, I'll verify all of the system specifications because sometimes I get them wrong off the top of my head. There's 1.5 gigabytes of RAM in the system. There's a couple cards in the card slot. There is a FireWire card right here. Not really going to use this for the video. There's an Ethernet card right here. I might use this to try to get network connectivity up and going because I have not had any luck with wireless connectivity with Android 1.6. Hopefully we don't get stuck using 1.6, but that might be the case because that's the only one I could get working with the eMachine T1090 with that Intel Celeron Coppermine processor in it. And you can see the USB 2.0 card that we will be using to run Android because I'm going to be running Android off a USB flash drive. As you can see, there's no hard drives in the system, so we're going to be running it off USB 2.0. And I think I've really touched on everything, so I'm going to back up from here. I have to set everything up. I'm going to try out a couple different versions of Android from 4.4, I believe, all the way down to 1.6 and see if anything newer than 1.6 works, because I used 1.6 in one of my last videos and it's pretty cut down. There's nothing really interesting that we can run, and if we do get stuck using 1.6, I'm going to see if I can download some APKs and get some cool applications up and running just to make the video a bit more interesting. Now, some of you are probably wondering what the heck the point of this video is. Well, I really want to see if the x86 versions of Android are capable of utilizing two physical processors, in this case, two Pentium 3 processors, and how well it will run using both processors. If it can only utilize one processor, well, it's not as fun, but we'll also be able to see how well Android will run on a Pentium 3 processor running at 3.3 gigahertz. So basically, it's a win-win situation, but I would rather have Android utilize both of these processors. I think it would be neat to see how it runs with both of those and how it utilizes both of those. I'm not sure if 1.6 has a built-in task manager or not. I might have to download one, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do about that if we get stuck using 1.6. But I'll cross that bridge when I get there. So I'm going to throw all this together and, gosh, do some experimentation. Can't wait. This is going to be fun trying to figure out which version of Android is actually going to work on this system. And one thing that I didn't mention earlier is that I'm going to try to use the built-in video first. It's a Savage Pro on this system, and if that doesn't work, I'm going to take my trusty VisionTech 7000 and pop it in the system. And I haven't fired this beast up in quite a while, so hopefully nothing blows up when we turn it on. I have plop in the floppy drive right now because, of course, we can't boot from the USB flash drive without it. I'm going to go ahead and turn the system on and cross my fingers. And also go into the BIOS so we can check out those system specifications. Come on. I finally managed to get into the BIOS. I don't know what was going on there. System was just taking a really long time to go through the power on self-test. So we have two Pentium 3s, as I said earlier. Each of them is running at 1.1 gigahertz, 512 kilobytes of cache on each processor, 1.5 gigabytes of RAM, as I also said earlier. So for the most part, I was correct. I think at one point I said the processors were running at 3.3 gigahertz on accident. My bad. I'll throw in an annotation to correct that. And really, I think that's about it for our system summary. Yeah, there's nothing really else I need to show you guys, so I'm going to go ahead and start playing around with those versions of Android. So I have some good news and I have some bad news as usual. It appears that 1.6 is functioning on this machine. Not sure if it's utilizing both of those processors yet, but nonetheless 1.6 does work. The bad news is what you just saw. The onboard video is just not having it. Every time I move the mouse, this happens. yeah, it's blinking out while it's trying to refresh. And that's going to be awful if I try to do the video like this. So I'm going to have to toss in that VisionTech 7000 and hope for the best. And here's that video card. Once again, no complaints because this is the beefiest PCI video card that I had. Now, I thought I might have had a ATI Rage 128 Pro in the back. Someone suggested I should use that because it might work better with these x86 versions of Android. But the only ATI Rage 128 Pro that I have in the back is for AGP. And this system does not support AGP, as you can see. So I'm going to toss this card in and see if that problem goes away. Oh my goodness, I'm so frustrated right now. I'm trying out a new camera. This is the Nikon D3300. I'm not used to all the operations yet, and I accidentally deleted this clip twice, so this is the third time I am reshooting it. But as you can see, Android is up and running with that VisionTech 7000. I did have some issues when I was booting. It froze at one point, and I had to go into the command line, enter in the VGA ask command, and set the video mode manually. But as you can see, we're in the GUI now. The video is a bit jumpy, so I might have to bump the resolution down just a bit, but the good news is 1.6 is up and running. Ooh, look at that. 2.2 works. Wow, I didn't expect that to happen. So we might be able to use something a bit newer than 1.6. I'm just going to keep on going up. I jumped all the way up to 5.1 just for the heck of it, and it doesn't work. 3.2 did not work either. 4.4 is a no-go as well, so I've tried out everything. It looks like we're going to use 2.2, so I'm going to go ahead and install it to a flash drive because it runs a lot faster when it's actually installed, and then I'll try to get some applications on it and maybe get some network connectivity up and going. I am going through the installation process right now. This is the flash drive with the live version of Android on it, and this is the flash drive that I am installing Android to. It's a 32GB Dan Elic flash drive. I'm going to pop over here. As you can see, I allocated 2GB of space for saving changes, installing applications, etc. So far everything is going great. So I left for a couple hours, went bowling, grabbed something to eat, but before I did leave, I ran into an issue with Plop and this Dan Elic flash drive, because for some reason, every time I tried to boot from that flash drive when it's plugged into the USB 2.0 card, Plop will just freeze at this point. It doesn't happen when I plug it into the system's USB ports right here on the back, but as I said earlier, these are like 1.1 and I really don't want to use them. It's fine for the mouse and keyboard, or I guess just mouse, but it's really not going to be good to run the operating system off those, so I have to figure out what I'm going to do about this. I might swap out flash drives because I think the flash drive itself might be the root of the cause, so I'm going to play around with that for a little bit, and hopefully I can get it back up and running. Just a quick little update. I decided to go ahead and completely switch out flash drives. The system did not like this little Dan Elic flash drive at all, so I just decided to completely get rid of it. We're not going to be using that. Instead, I'm installing Android with all the same settings on my SanDisk Cruiser Glide 32GB flash drive, which I have in here right now. Some of you are probably cringing right now because I have them in at awkward angles. They just wouldn't fit. The USB ports are too close together, so I kind of had to shove them in. Trust me, guys, it's bothering me too. I'm going to get it out as soon as I can, but just a quick little update, and that's really all I have to say right now. Hopefully this works. And this time I'm also going to create a fake SD card, so we have a little bit more storage, and I'm taking advantage of the unallocated space on the flash drive. And here's the moment of truth. Android has successfully installed to that flash drive. I'm going to come over here to the monitor and keyboard. I have Plop already up, and hopefully this time it will actually boot from the USB flash drive. There we go. Awesome. The standard video modes do not work. The first time I tried to boot, the system just froze, so I'm going to have to use the VGA ask command. So VGA equals, I'm trying to do it through the camera and I can't see it that well, ASK. There we go. Hit enter. I'm going to figure out what video mode I want to select. Alright, and I think the one that usually works best is 317 1024 by 768 by 16 bits color depth. So I'm probably going to use that one. I'm going to try that one first anyway. 317. And let's see if it boots up into Android 2.2. And there we go, we are in. So I have a little bit of work to do. I'm going to see if I can get wireless connectivity up, maybe install some applications, and then really figure out what I'm going to make the next couple minutes of this video about. Mode 317 did work, but after using it for a little while, I felt like it was just way too intensive for the video card. Everything was much too jumpy to be usable, and after using it for a while, it was starting to make me sick. So I went ahead and tried out a couple different video modes. I tried out 322, 313, 312, 301, and none of those worked. I didn't even get a video output from those. So now I'm going to try 384, 640 by 400. By 16 bits color depth, and I don't want to go any lower than that because anything lower is just the resolution is just too low, and you know, icons are going to be huge. Everything's going to look kind of weird at those really low resolutions. So I'm going to go ahead and try 384 and hope for the best. And I typed in 383. Everything looks pretty bad, but it's much more responsive. I'm definitely going to stick with this in video mode instead of 317, so we are using video mode 384 now. And we have network connectivity! Woohoo! So all I did was take a Ethernet cable, run it from the Ethernet card in this PC to the Ethernet port on my laptop. I then opened up network and connections and just bridged the adapter, my wireless adapter, and that Ethernet card. So now we are browsing the web and everything else through this computer. Okay, so I've been playing around with everything for a little bit, and there's been a couple problems, a couple successes, so let me tell you what exactly is going on here and what we're going to be able to do with this version of Android. So apparently there is no file manager installed on this version of Android, and I believe there was one on 1.6, so that's kind of frustrating. I'm not sure why there wouldn't be one on this version. So I downloaded the APK for Angry Birds on my PC, transferred it over to a flash drive, and then realized that there's no file manager, and no file manager means I can't get that APK up and on the system, unfortunately. So that's problem number one. Success number one was that I am successfully connected to the network, so we can browse the internet using the web browser on this PC. We'll be able to see how snappy that is. Problem number two, there's no way to gauge if we're using both physical processor on this machine, at least with software. Now, we could do this the old-fashioned way, take our fingers, stick it in here, and see if both the heat sinks are heating up. I've unplugged the fans. I'm about to plug them in just a minute because both of those heat sinks are getting quite toasty, so that probably means it's utilizing both of the processors. But I'll talk about that a little bit more in just a second. As far as success number two goes, there hasn't really been one. So we're going to play around with the operating system. We're going to check out whatever's on here. I'm going to plug the heatsink fans back in so these Pentium 3s don't, blow up or anything. And yeah, we'll go from there. It's been a little while since that last clip. I've been trying to get applications onto this install of Android. I tried a couple different things, including attempting to push the APKs through the network using ADB, which is something you use for VirtualBox, but I thought it might work for this application. But I have had no success, and I'm really disappointed because that was like the highlight of this video for me. I wanted to get Angry Birds up and running on 2 Pentium 3s, but unfortunately, we're not going to be able to do that. So really, if it's disappointing for you guys, trust me, it's really disappointing for me. But that's not the end of this video. There's still a lot of cool stuff that we can do with this, and the network connection is dropping like crazy. So the first thing I'm going to do right now is we're going to take a look at the web browser and try to browse the web on this PC using Android 2.2. And I really don't work with Android that much, guys, so if you have any suggestions for getting applications onto this system, please leave them in the comment section. I would really appreciate it. My audience is always super helpful. I really enjoy that, the feedback from the community. So I'm going to go ahead and pop this open. As you can see, it's nice and smooth with this lower screen resolution. The internet browser icon is conveniently right here on the sidebar. I'm going to go ahead and click on it. And let's do some web browsing. As you can see, I already had Google up. So the first thing I want to do is go to YouTube, because apparently this thing will play back YouTube videos. I don't have any speakers hooked up, so there's not going to be any sound, but I was really surprised when I got on the mobile version of YouTube, and it does take us to the mobile version of YouTube, because technically this is like a phone OS. So www.youtube. .com. Had a brain fart there for a minute. Forgot what I was typing. Wow, that's embarrassing. Hit go. Alright, for some reason my wireless adapter dropped the network connection, but I got it back up over here, and I'm not sure, like, where's my hand coming out on camera? Oh, it's really close. Okay. Anyway, I got it back up and working on my laptop, and therefore it is working on this system. So, yeah, having a lot of issues with that network connection. That's why I want to get this segment of the video out of the way. Of course, I'm not going to play any content that's not mine because, you know, copyright issues and all of that. It gets really annoying. But as you can see, I'm scrolling through YouTube, and it's actually pretty smooth. As I said earlier, this is the mobile version. So I'm going to scroll back up, and we're going to take a look at one of my videos. So just going to go into the search bar, type in A Computers and Technology. It should still come up. I didn't type that quite right. There we go. And the time and date are not set right in the BIOS on this PC, so I'm getting certificate errors all over the place. And I just want to take a look at the latest video, which is Software Sunday. Bring it up, loading video. Oh, look at that nice low resolution. That's probably, does it tell me what the video settings are? Alright, I'm not going to mess with it because it's just going to freeze up. We're probably getting around 5 frames per second. It's not watchable, but it does play, and that's why I was pretty surprised. There you go. Now you can see what the frame rate actually looks like. Alright, I'm going to let this play for like, 2 or 3 seconds, and then we're going to take a look at a different website. Nothing really interesting here. You guys should check out Software Sunday, though, because I had a lot of fun making that segment. Alright, so we're going to get out of here. Go back up to the search bar. Let's go to my website, www.acomputersandtechnology.com. And so far, I feel like it's been pretty responsive. I'm really impressed with the performance. I mean, I feel like this is, it's usable. I feel like this is usable so far. The scrolling's nice and smooth. Once again, resolution's kind of low. But, I mean, all the links are working, not having any issues with, the web pages coming out all funky. So, I mean, yeah, it's usable. I don't know what else to say. It's just usable. I'm going to keep saying that over and over again. Alright, let's load up something with a lot of images. How about one of these archive pages? I'm going to compact laptops in the Notebook 100. We're going to pop over here to see how well this is coming out on camera. That's coming out pretty well. I'm happy with that. Let's scroll through here. Yeah, nice and smooth. Having absolutely no problems here. It's falling a little bit behind. As you can see, I'm not scrolling anymore. Hands are off the mouse. So there was a bit of delay there, but I'm going to scroll back up. And going back up is actually a lot smoother. I'm going to click on the search bar. And the true test of a system's performance with the web browser is going on CNN. And if your system does not crash, you got a pretty good web browsing machine there. And I'm kind of joking and I'm kind of not, because CNN has so many ads and everything and pop-ups. It just slows your system down a lot. And in my experience with older computers, the web browser would just crash when I go to CNN.com. So let's go ahead and try that out. I keep hitting enter instead of clicking go. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for complaining. Alright, what kind of depressing headlines are in the news today? Alright. Well, some of the site is loading up and some of it is not. As you can see, there should be images right here, and I'm assuming there should be an image right here, and it's just not coming up. What happens when you actually click on an article, though? Many think ISIS is winning. Okay, interesting. Let's try that one. And once again, I feel like it's pretty responsive. Oh, is there going to be a video here? Oh my goodness, this is getting on my nerves. I really need to fix the date and time settings in the BIOS. No, that video is not going to come up. I didn't expect it to. But we can read the article, and the website is not crashing because it's not loading half of the stuff in the first place. So, well, pretty impressive. I would give that probably a solid B. Let's go ahead and see what using the actual system feels like. I'm going to sit down in the chair. We're going to browse through some of the features of Android, pop open some applications just to get a general idea of the system's performance. I'm going to pop open the lock screen. What happens when we scroll around the pages? I'm going to flip pages here. That's actually pretty smooth. I'm happy with that. Touch to select music. I wonder if there's any music on this PC. Nope. Oh. No, there's nothing here. Alright, I'm going to back out of this. And, you know, so far everything's been pretty snappy. I'm really impressed with the system. If we bump up the screen resolutions, things do start to get a bit jumpy. That's just because the video card can't handle everything. So if I had a beefier PCI video card, it would probably be pretty nice using this version of Android on this system. I'm going to open up some applications now. As you can see, I can scroll through here. Let's look at settings and see if there's anything interesting. Running services tells us how much RAM we're using out of the total amount of RAM in the system, but it doesn't give us an idea of what our CPU usage is, unfortunately. So that's the closest thing I found to a task manager on the system. Alright, and you can see that scrolling is once again nice and smooth. I'm going to back out of this. Let's try opening up some applications now. I think I might have said that already. I'm starting to lose it. It's currently 10 o'clock at night. I'm starting to get a bit tired, so we're going to pop open JetBoy. And once again, I have absolutely no idea how to play this game. My hands are not on the keyboard. It's just doing everything itself. I think you might have to have some sort of sound device plugged in too, because I think the game is based on sound. But you can see just looking at it, it's actually nice and smooth. You're getting this smooth, whatever frame rate that is. It looks like 30 frames per second. So, I mean, that's working pretty well, besides the fact that I can't play it because I don't know how. So I'm going to back out of this. No more of that. That's really complicated. Lunar Lander, I kind of figured out how to play last time. And pop that open, press up to play. Whoa. And I think the goal of this is to land on that green pad over there, which I'm not going to do. And I'm running out of fuel. Whoa, and I'm out of fuel. But you can see the game itself is pretty smooth. I'm going to try one more time. Woo! How do I do this? Oh, what? Gosh, I really don't understand. I'm gonna look through here and see if I can find anything else that'd be interesting to take a look at. I already checked out the App Store because it's not the Play Store. There's like 10 apps on there, and when I try to download them, it just fails. So that's pretty much useless. Calculator. What happens when you open up Calculator? I mean, come on. How can this not work? There you go. Demonstration of Calculator. And yeah, I'm gonna take a look and see if there's any other interesting programs. Once again, in between this clip and the last one, I was trying to get Angry Birds up and running on this PC. You guys have no idea how bad I want to do that. But once again, I had no success. There were a couple programs that I found interesting on this computer. First off is Maps. And, well, you know, what's interesting about this? Well, how smooth it is. Look at that. I mean, it's very smooth. Everything loads up nice and quick. Let me go ahead and zone in on my area. I'm not going to give you my exact location, of course, because that would be weird, but my general area. And I'll just go around here. I mean, everything's super smooth, even with that video card kind of holding us back. This is why I really think Android is utilizing both of those Pentium 3 processors. One, because both of them are getting extremely hot when I turn the fans off, and two, because everything is just so smooth. Operation wasn't as nearly as smooth on that Intel Celeron Coppermine processor running at 900 megahertz. I'm going to bump things up a little bit at this point and try something a little bit more resource intensive. So I'm going to scroll out and change this to satellite view and see how well that works. There we go, satellite. It's kind of pixely. Once again, we have a pretty low resolution, so I don't think it's going to get any better than this. But as you can see, everything is coming out pretty good. It's very, very nice looking. I was actually down in this area the other day. I kayaked like 5 miles all the way down to Back Bay. And yeah. I mean, it's very smooth. As you can see, I can scroll across the map with no problem. There's no visible lag or stutter or anything like that. I mean, let me go ahead and just throw it across here. Let me zoom out a little bit. Yeah, you see everything's loading up nice and quick, very snappy. So pretty happy with the performance of this map application on the system. So I'm going to try to wrap things up here because the video is starting to get pretty lengthy. I'm going to demo 2 more applications. I'm going to talk about the dual processors a little bit more before everything ends, and then I'm going to call it a night and hopefully get the video out and up tomorrow. So the first application I want to demo is another game, Snake on a Phone, and whoa, that is funky. Wow, look at the orientation that I put the monitor in to play this game. That didn't happen when I was running 1.6. Well, anyway, I'm going to hit up to play, and yeah, I didn't expect that to happen. Well, that was a nice surprise. Spice things up a bit. And really, I mean, there's not much to this game. It's just one of those Snake games. I'm going to back out this. And I found that there was actually a YouTube app installed on the system. So let's open that up and see how smooth that runs compared to the web browser. There's a problem starting up. Please check your network connection system time. Oh, you know, it's probably not going to start up because of that those certificate errors. So if I wanted to use this, I'd have to change everything in the BIOS. That's okay. No thanks. And let's go ahead and wrap this up, shall we? Thanks for bearing with me, guys, during this fun yet very frustrating installment of AA Computers and Technology. And at this point, I am 90% certain that Android is utilizing both of the Pentium 3 processors in the system. Now, my ways of measuring that weren't super accurate. I disconnected the fans, and both of the heat sinks were equally hot to the touch after using the system for a while, and the system performance is just way too smooth for it to be using just one processor. I mean, in my opinion, everything was super smooth, all the applications were running great. I was really impressed with the system's performance. And I think that's going to be about it for this video. If you guys know of any ways of how to tell if Android is using both the processors, if there's some sort of application that I should download, or maybe there's something that I'm missing in the system settings, please leave a comment in the comment section, and that leads us to the ending spiel of the video. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can post a comment in the comment section. Don't forget to like this video, and of course, please do not forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thanks for watching, guys, and there might be a part 2 of this video if I can get Angry Birds up and running, if I find some way to tell if Android is actually, for real, utilizing both of the Pentium 3 processor. Once again, I'm pretty sure it is, but I'm not 100% sure, which is, you know, one of those things I would like to be. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next installment of AA Computers and Technology.